name is Charisse Crockett. I'm the Interim Director of Programs here at Oolite Arts. Thank you all for coming. Ooh, okay. Wow, thank you for that applause. For those who don't know, Oolite Arts is a nonprofit arts organization based right here on Lincoln Road, and I'm so pleased to welcome you to our 40th anniversary celebration. 40 years. Before we get started, I want to invite you to join us for our inaugural art trip. We're taking a group to Barcelona this October. It's going to be an amazing trip, so please visit our website or visit with our Director of Development, Nuria Richards, who's somewhere around here, to book your spot. We only have a few spots per named here. The birthday festivities continues tonight with an artist talk between our esteemed curators and local arts community pillars. Marie Vickles, Senior Director of Education at Perez Art Museum and Curator in Residence at the Little Haiti Cultural Center, and Oolite alumnus and fabulousness all around, William Cordova. We were so thrilled when Marie and William agreed to curate this important exhibition, which reflects on Oolite's 40-year history and features artworks by several of our esteemed alums. Just a reminder that after the talk, please check out the exhibition if you haven't done so already. We also have a pop-up exhibition downstairs featuring artwork by our live-in art residents. Wander through the building and visit the studios of our studio residents. And at 7:15, we will be cutting the cake in a continuation of our birthday celebration. So visit us downstairs at the entrance. With pleasure, I'll now turn over the floor to Marie and William. Thank you.
All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are so grateful for everything. William?
Yes. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Huh? We want to start by thanking folks. Want to start by thanking Charisse Crockett, Michael Loveland, Celeste Diana, Kevin Arrow, Claudio Campo, Duana Wright, Danny Plana, new director John Abodili, and a special thanks to facilities manager Dan Wittendorf. Hey. And the late Sam Komisarczyk, who was the ArtCenter South Florida's first facilities manager. We also want to thank artist Eli Schneiderman for her vision and for taking action in constructing this institution, ArtCenter South Florida, Oolite Arts.
Yeah. And we felt it important to include every single alumni, 600 plus, that you'll see downstairs in the glass vitrine that's down there, to acknowledge them in the ephemera, the photos, the press clippings, and more. So please do go down there. And it is a work in progress, so maybe your memory is better than ours. So if you see a name that's not on there, let us know. Also, we do this to honor those who have passed on and to celebrate the early African diaspora artists that made a significant impact on ArtCenter and the community. We're going to introduce the artists that are here for today's conversation, and then we'll get into it. So let me start with Vickie Pierre. She's a South Florida contemporary artist originally from Brooklyn, New York. Vickie's work intersects the ornate perceptions of the past and illusions. She currently has a solo exhibition at MoCA North Miami, and if you don't see it, what are you doing?
Indubitably. Miami-based Dominican-born Charo Oquet is an internationally known multidisciplinary artist, curator, and cultural producer. She delves into new narratives and history contexts that unveil suppressed histories, communities, and identities. Oquet is also founder of Ed Zone, a leading nonprofit focused on promoting marginalized communities. Charo's work was recently commissioned by Oolite Arts for the Walgreens Windows project in Miami Beach, which you can see down the road.
Yeah. All right. Yes, give it up for Charo. Okay, Fenol Marcelin, born in Port-au-Prince and based in Sarasota, Florida. Fenol's paintings are invested in themes addressing identity, resilience, folklore, and social transformation. His work reflects the richness and complexity of Haitian culture. Fenol is also the founder and owner of Artists at Work Studio Art Gallery that is located in Sarasota, Florida. Thank you for joining us, Fenol.
Cheers. Finally, but not least, Jody Linky Chao is an interdisciplinary Jamaican-American artist based in New York City. Jody's work is a meditation on polyculture, ritual, and tradition. She constructs and illuminates past narratives as a form of resisting historical and public amnesia. Her work is currently being exhibited at the Tarafani Castle and Center for the Arts in Nairobi, Kenya.
Hi, Jody. Okay, so for the Q&A, William and I came up with questions for this conversation to address the unique experiences and vantage points of each of the artists that are here tonight to share with us. So we're gonna just pop around the panel. Everyone gets a unique question, so don't try to prepare an answer while someone else is talking. Yours will be different.
No cheating.
Exactly. But also, you know, we want to hear your unique experiences, so feel free to wander off a little bit too. You want to kick us off?
I reckon. Vickie. Hey. You joined ArtCenter around 2001. Let's talk about that pivotal home show at Eugenia Vargas's place that featured the beautiful ephemeral installation with drawings and doodles on pieces of paper. What brought you to ArtCenter from New York?
Okay, so I did not come to Miami looking to be involved in the art scene. I came to Miami because I had family that lived on South Beach and they were always raving about how much fun it was. And so I came down for a weekend, Halloween weekend in fact. I think that may have been 96 or 97. And I had a great weekend, and 3 days later, I rented an apartment on Euclid Avenue. And so from there, I stayed. And I met people who were in the hospitality industry, but also just regular locals. And through these interactions, I found people that were in the arts. And, you know, fast forward, I started working at MAM as a preparator and then a registrar, et cetera, et cetera. And the whole time that I was doing all that, I was making work. But, you know, I still didn't feel like I understood what I was doing or understood that there was a community that I could be a part of. And so when Eugenia had this show, this home show, and I was invited to do it, to be included, I didn't know what to do. I was very nervous about it. And she kind of just said, you know, do whatever you want. And so...
I said that.
No, you did not.
Yeah, I curated the show. There's the invite.
Oh.
Miss Pierre.
Oh.
And here's the evidence.
Oh.
Let's show evidence A here. That's the invite.
Let me look. No, that's not that one.
That's the invite image.
Okay, let me see that.
This is
photo.
the show.
Well, where's my work? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, William. So then what happened was... what had happened?
Checks in the mail.
Yes, it is. Everybody who's been involved will get some money. So, yeah. So I was encouraged and excited, and I did something that I'd never done before, which was to write and paint on the walls, and I did it on her fireplace. And it was exhilarating and exciting, and I felt very unsure of myself, but at the same time, I felt like it was something that was kind of pushing me forward and, you know, moving me from a space where I was comfortable, you know, drawing on paper and doodling to expanding what art could be for me. And so that was the home show.
Yeah.
Yes, I first saw Vickie's work here at ArtCenter, little around 2001.
Yes.
We had met, I think, in 99, 2000.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I didn't see it until you were here. And when I saw it, I thought, this is it. This is the work. This needs to be transported immediately. And then a local gallery dealer, Genaro Ambrosino, saw the work at that show, immediately wanted to represent you.
Yes.
And then sky's the limit after that.
Yes, and he was very kind and encouraging and just a wonderful figure in my life at that time. Really helped me through the process and was a friend, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Charo or Jody? Any preference? Who wants to talk? Okay, Jody. All right. You know what? Let's talk about the New World experience a little bit and how that connected to ArtCenter. So, as a post-New World grad, what was the extent of how you developed as an artist here at ArtCenter? And just thinking about how you navigated the use of a facilities without an actual studio, right? How did you find your way in here, make things happen for yourself? Tell us a little bit about how you made it work for yourself at ArtCenter.
Thank you for that question. Well, I guess I'll start by talking a little bit about New World and how that transition took place. But when I was getting my BFA at New World School of the Arts, we had a shared, very communal studio space. And so I think, this is a long time ago, so forgive me about my memory. I decided to join ArtCenter shortly after that. This was 1996, 97, circa. I wanted to see what that experience was like to have my own studio space and yet still be within an arts community. And I think, when I started ArtCenter, I think I was just subletting a space. But I held on to that space for some time, maybe about a year and a half or something like that. Hard to remember, but I found it really great for doing work that didn't really require so much equipment here. I was doing painting, but I was also doing very experimental work with ceramics and textiles. And so having a space here, I believe it was downstairs, really gave me that opportunity to see what my work looked like in its own space, uninhabited or with no interruptions from even visually, and to really look at my work in its full breadth, in a more clear space. And so even though I didn't have access to a kiln here at the time, I don't remember having access to a kiln, I was able to still I had a kiln at home, I think, and I fired work and I'd bring it down here and just kind of see what that work looked like in the space. And it was really nice to be fully immersed in that studio space for the first time, to have a solitary space for making work. And that was really important if I look back, because at New World I wasn't really fully afforded that experience.
That's awesome. So a little birdie told me that space was sublet from William. Is that true?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. Was your experience? Okay, calm down, everybody, calm down. Okay.
It's just a question.
How long was it? A year? Half a year? Okay.
Okay. We don't have
That was
the.
very But that was awesome.
The photo evidence is not here on the slides, but
Right.
okay. All right. Well, thank you, William, for providing that space. I think there's gonna be a little antidote with each of our artists here today that will connect back to William, and William, you connected all of us, so thank you. Thank you for bringing me into this project. I want to acknowledge that before you call me out. He invited me. Just want to say that. Okay. All right, so thank you, Jody, for sharing that. And it's really also beautiful. I want to just say it's beautiful to see, this path that continues from New World to other art institutions to then artists. Sometimes, not everybody stays here. That's okay too. To move to like artists spreading their wings, moving outside of Florida, doing more, but still coming back. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, Charo, we are ready. We're ready for the stories, the tea, all of it. Okay. All right, so your work, it's ever expansive, varied in medium. It's just, it's exciting. What can I say? During the time you were at ArtCenter, can you tell us a little bit about what kind of exchanges, interactions you had with fellow artist and ceramicist Carlos Alves? You can think back to that. Wait, there's more. And for everyone here, that reference, to just reference that artist, the fountain that's at the, up the road, up Lincoln Road, right across from Colony on Lenox. Is that Lenox? Okay, so that's the fountain that Carlos created. It's still there, it's still working. It's beautiful. I think we've all sat on it at least once. Just that's the reference of Carlos. And then after the Carlos conversation, if you can also tell us a little bit about classes maybe that you created for the public to also engage with the artists here, with art for themselves, and that. Tell us a little bit about both of those things.
Yeah, you made a lot of contributions. So, just give us
And I wasn't alone, by the way. There's a lot of other people who also contributed. One of them apart from William, which we know already, James Hearing right here, who's one of the major people sort of helping to evolve this place into what it is today. Carlos. Well, I think I first started coming to the ArtCenter to fire at Carlos's studio. And he would allow me to fire my work because I was doing ceramics at that time, actually. I mean, I'm a painter my beginnings are painting, but I had also gotten very involved in ceramics that I had picked up in Santo Domingo. So I came to Miami and I was painting them and firing them there. And it's like, that's how I kind of connected from the beginning with the ArtCenter. I mean, for me, the ArtCenter, Miami Beach was like, I came to Miami from Santo Domingo and, New Zealand, and sort of when I saw the beach and I saw that there were artists here, like I remember Carlos Betancourt's studio, and then I saw this, I said, oh my God, this is where I have to live. So we moved to Miami Beach because of the arts. And, but I don't think I got a studio right away. I got it later after I had my second child. And I had a studio right here on 924 in the corner there on the second floor. And really, this was such an amazing place, especially if you had just come from somewhere else and you wanted to know people and meet people. This was the place. This was the place that gave me so many connections. Fenol was across the street, across the view from me. We were neighbors for a long time. I also felt really strongly about this place, and I recruited people here, like Edouard Duval and Wansi, and a whole lot of artists that at first weren't that, sure. Trosavares, a lot of artists that, weren't sure if this is the place for them. And I said, you gotta come. There's things happening here. I also, because I had little kids, I realized, this is the beginning of art camps, camps. And I said, at that time, when you were living in Miami, when the summer came, you had no jobs. There was no money. You were like, so I said, why don't we start an art camp? And we hired each other. I hired a lot of people. We gave each other jobs,
give me a tip too.
Yeah, a lot of people got jobs through that because we needed work. You know, this is how we sort of survived the summer. And then later I took over somebody else who started the program that brought students from Fisher, Feinberg, and South Point Elementary, the local elementaries, and I think also maybe, I don't know, 41st Street as well, North Beach Elementary, to the artist studios. That was started by somebody else. I think that was under Pat Jones. So we, you know, basically would have 5 or 6 students come in to the artist studios. Again, this gave us money for us to survive, especially during the summer. And so there was a lot of that happening. But then again, when Pat Jones came around, because this is when Ellie was no longer part of she had a studio here, but she was no longer, she had sort of quit the board or something. Yeah, and we had, Pat had brought in people like Jenny Pearson and you, to James Hearing, who started developing the black box and what was it called? The ground level gallery, right? And that really started opening up more spaces for artists to show. I was one of the people that fought to get the windows curated, because at that time before that, you know, it was like if you had a studio there, you had the window, which is great, but you know, it really necessarily wasn't what we wanted people to see or judge the art center as, you know, like whatever your work was. So we felt like it was better if we had a curator, but not everybody liked it. In fact, that's why I had to leave, because it, you know, people weren't happy, even though everybody won from that, because I think it really changed who came, you know, who came and wanted to be part of us. So there was a lot of wonderful people, and I want to mention as well Stanley Levine, who was a respected real estate and commercial transaction lawyer who was based here and who was pivotal in helping Ellie to acquire these spaces. So he was very, very important in creating this. Am I right? I mean,
Yes.
you know, so he was very, very important because I think he helped to get the money, right? And that sort of things. Yeah. So there were a lot of people here. Also, the Alliance, which William Cadell, my husband, and also Don Chauncey, Bill Oakert, who had the film at the Alliance across the street. So all of these people, Gustavo Matamoro, a lot of people who really contributed to what was happening here, the development of this amazing place, you know. So I was very grateful to be here.
Thank you, Charo. Fenol. Yes, you spent a great deal of time in residence at ArtCenter South Florida. How did you manage to be part of this community for so long? How did that continuity support your practice? And can you tell us a bit about your culinary practice as well, that you maintain alongside your visual art practice at ArtCenter?
Well, 12 years was a long time ago. I'm from Haiti. I left Haiti when I was very young. So, can you guys hear me? Okay. I came here really to the Art Center in 1990. I was here for 12 years. That's a long, long time ago. For those of you who had children, you know how it feels. I was living in an apartment. I was painting. I have a studio and stuff, and I didn't work. And then I have a toddler that was obsessed with paints. And whenever I'm working, and then if I blink, and then I turn around, and then it's basically scared with paints, you know. So that was a challenge for me. And then his mother and I, we sat down and said, okay, we need to, you know, find a solution, because I'm working in my studio, and I have to cover the carpet with, you know, with you know, cotton board, and, you know, trying to not to mess the carpet. And then I was working in a commission, and then one day I came home, and then there was like handprints and all over the painting. So at that point I had to make a decision. I said, okay, this is it for me. I have to find a space somewhere and to paint. Even though I knew the ArtCenter existed at the time, and then I decided to come here on Lincoln Road and then applied, and then I got a studio. And it is something that I never tell anyone. I didn't like my studio when I first came here because I thought I was so hidden in the back of 2024, and I was so jealous. Well, jealous in the sense where I wish I was in 810 because you have more visibility, more exposure, and at time I learned to love my studio, and then I think that was the best studio that I ever had, and start teaching as well. Charo and I remember we had classes sometime. I would teach in my studio because I encourage my students to come in and then hang in my studio to work in that environment where I have all my work, and then that was a big plus. And then also, the ArtCenter came because we were so hidden, and then they had this window exchange. They would have rotation for some artists, and then most of my pieces are sold because of those windows when I had to display my work in the windows. My practice, I came from a family that was into the arts. I have a brother. His name was Fenol Marcelin. He was one of. But thing is about that. Also, my father was a art dealer. I mean, he will be dealing with a lot of with the arts, with some artists. So you came home from school, and then all you surroundings was art. And then as a kid, and then that's all you know. You pick it up. You know what I mean? So this is and then later on, my first gallery that I sold, my first piece, encouraged me to go to the academy, to this Centre d'Art Academy that was in Haiti. So when I left Haiti very young, came here in New York, and again didn't have any connection, and art was everything that I have. That's all I. And then everywhere I go, it was always my support system, and that was it.
Yeah. It's interesting that you talk about your studio that way, because I remember when I first came to the ArtCenter, well, no, but just an interesting thought came that most artists were extremely jealous of your space, because your space was twice as big as the ArtCenter's offices.
So true.
Yeah,
so
we were always trying to break in there.
So true. Well, as you all know, I like to work big. Okay, it's either you can big or you don't paint at all. This is my mentality, and then that's the reason why I became my studio became very, very well. I learned to love my studio because of what it is. So the people that work at the office in the morning, when they come to the second floor, when they got out of the elevator and then they turn to the right, and then the first thing they saw is that big window with the big painting on it. And then I always have, big compliments, and then I would change the window every now and then it's always a big surprise for everybody. Whenever people come in to work in the morning and then they see the window change, it is like, they're just amazed. So yeah, that was that's what I love about my studio. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember your paintings were massive. I know that the two small pieces here, because they are small compared to what
Exactly.
we normally were used to seeing. We couldn't get them in the truck, they're too big. But these will do, but yeah, it's just...
Well, those two pieces that I have, they're very small. I mean, compared to the other pieces, I mean, just keep in mind now, when I have a window on Lincoln Road, it's either 810, 810 or 800. Those pieces in that studio, I have to take the piece of the stretcher to bring it out and then to restretch it. Okay, that's a lot of work. Okay, it's not something that you can just pull out of the studio and then bring it down, you know, to 800. You know what I mean? So it's always a pleasure to do that. You know, so.
Well, we should have more shows with your large works.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
It's good business.
Any dealers in here?
But he she's just taking. Did he get them to the bus?
I reckon.
Okay.
In closing, we would like to acknowledge ArtCenter alumni artist Manuel Acevedo, who couldn't be here, Edouard Duval-Carrié, who also couldn't be here, and also the late Michael Richards, who was an artist at ArtCenter from 1997 to 1999.
Thank you, William. Thank you all for sharing. And yeah, and now we want to open it up to you all. So this is a conversation, not between us, just us up here, but between us and you as well. So let's hear some of your stories. What's some of the teas or dimes you want to drop today on the past? Nothing current, sorry. Yeah, so we'd like to hear about some of your memories, experiences at ArtCenter, South Florida. And of course, if you have any questions for any of the artists that are here on the panel, those are welcome as well. We're going to pass the mic because I believe this will help folks here who are streaming this. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm James Herring. I was here from about 1991 till about 1997. One of the artists that I really remember is Tomeda Duplanty.
Yeah.
He was very sort of, you know, folk art kind of paintings, and he had been a musician before, and you know, very punk rock musician. Actually, he was fairly well known as a punk rock musician. And at the time, of course, this is before Lincoln Road had been redone, and it was all sort of abandoned, right? Only the ArtCenter people were here. And, you know, he came one day, he had this group of black musicians that were that kind of New Orleans style, you know, band that goes to funerals and such, you know. And yeah, second line group. And he somehow got these guys to come, and they just started marching up and down Lincoln Road with playing this music, and they would go into any place that was open. So there was like one restaurant that was open, and they just wandered in there playing that music, and everybody that was there was like, what's going on? It was crazy. And I just thought that was one of the memories that really stuck with me. One other I just wanted to mention is Tag Purvis. Okay, Tag Purvis was a filmmaker, and he set up one day this projection on his window that faced the street. It was in one of the buildings. It wasn't in 800, 810. It was in one of the rental buildings that they had at the time. And it was of two men kissing, you know, and it was just on a loop. There's two men kissing. And the restaurant that was open across the street got so many complaints about it that they tried to put up a whole row of trees and bushes to try to cover it so that their patrons didn't have to see this. But it was just one of those things. He later on made a very full-length feature film with Karen Black, who was a very well-known actress. Anyway, that's one of my strokes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd actually like to ask Barbara, you have the mic? Yeah. Can you, since you're here, thank you for being here with us. I'd like to ask if you'd be willing to share a little bit about some of your projects, and specifically this one here, the collaboration you and curatorial project you did with the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center.
Well, I owe it all to William. But since William actually wasn't here at that time, a man named Gary Feinberg, who was sort of an interim director, came to me and said, I would like to do an exchange with the ArtCenter people and with the Cultural Affairs, African American Cultural Affairs, Marshall Davis. And so anyway, I got together with Marshall and we talked with the artists at South Florida Art Center and put together a group of those artists and took that work over to Miami and then brought the African Heritage Cultural Arts Senior artists, which was primarily the COVA group at that time, brought their work over here. So it was this wonderful kind of exchange across the bridge. And I did one other show, it was called 3x5.
Yes.
Closer, William. William's the director, definitely. But the library was getting, I'm a librarian, and the library was getting rid of the card catalogs and the 3x5 cards. And so I sent out a call to artists and to writers all over the country to ask them to respond to libraries on the 3x5 card. And they sent these 3x5 cards. I think we had John Updike was one, and Ed Ruscha, and Harold Reifus, a local artist that some of you may know. Karen Reifus, I'm sure. But we installed those during a week that the Library Association was having their meeting here. And James Herring was always a really wonderful supporter, as was William. So anyway, it was always wonderful to work with the South Florida Art Center. The energy here was great, just visiting the studios. They were always welcoming. The support that they were giving each other was so impressive. I was always moved by that. Shirley Henderson was here at that time. Lots of wonderful people. So, and Charo, always Charo.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Appreciate it. Okay, we have time for one more question, and I think I see.
I
had to dance for that one. All right. I was a resident here back in 1990, and I'm just kidding. I'm just joking next to William. I'm a current resident right now. My name's Mark Delmont. I know that y'all don't have that much time left, so I'll just keep it tight, and I hope you keep it tight with your answer. But in 2 sentences, can you tell me your why? Like why you made art in the first place? 2 sentences.
So very quick. Chat with the couples.
For all of us? Okay, 2 sentences or less why we decided to make art. I don't know, I think I was in 1st or 2nd grade in Jamaica, where I was born, right? And we had an art class, and I just fell in love with it. And then I used to get called out of math class or whatever other class I was taking to go do illustrations or poster designs for the school. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep this up so I don't have to do like math or reading or anything. and my art teacher at the time was my godfather. He was my godfather. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I felt like I was getting special privileges. That's more than 2 sentences, but.
I'll add my 2 sentences. Yeah, very similar story. As a child, I moved around a lot, and I had to be even in boarding schools, and every time I moved in schools, I didn't really know what was going on, so I just drew a lot. And nobody really saw it until I came to the US and I was 10, and I had my first real art class, and my art teacher, asked me to do a mask, because I asked the whole class to do it. She was, oh my God, you're so good. And so from there on, and I couldn't speak English very well, anything, I became the classroom artist. I decorated the walls and stuff, and so that became my voice. And every time I moved, it was also, when I went back to the Dominican Republic, it was art that kind of opened my doors and gave me, so it became my identity.
How does make a way do that? That.
Well, for me, it's like I mentioned before in my introduction. When you're a kid and you grow up in a family that make art to survive, and then you come home and then all the surroundings, all you see is art, and then you think, hey, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and it sticks to you, and that's what you do. You don't want to do anything else. I mean, yeah, I won't change anything else. Just doing what I'm doing. Just do art. Say what?
What?
So the question was, why do you make art? I make art because it is the only thing that I can do where I feel like I'm myself. That's it. And I took a break for a long period of time where I was focused on being a registrar to the point where I was actually telling people that I was no longer making art. And then someone said to me, you better stop saying that. Stop saying that. Why are you always saying that? And so I was like, shit, I better stop saying that. So that's why I make art, because if I wasn't making art, I would be dying. I would be dead. And it is the most important thing to me in my life. I love my husband, but he knows what's up. And that is my art making. And so that's it.
Good stuff. Okay, so
We're getting the wrap it up sign. Yeah, getting booted off the stage. William, send us off. Any other? Who told Vickie better stop saying you're not a? I told you. I just had to hear him take credit for that.
who told me what? Not about here.
No, about you had to stop saying you're not an artist.
Oh no, it wasn't William.
Okay.
I think a lot of people were like, "Why are you always saying that?" Claire, appreciate it. I don't say it anymore. No, girl.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. How big is that?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.